40.
Nobody.
Welcome, councillors, and welcome to all those watching online at this meeting. I now declare the full council of Weymouth Town Council open. Apologies for absence. We've had no apologies for absence so far. Yes, sorry.
Apologies from Councillor Surrey.
Councillor Surrey, sorry.
And Councillor Clifford hopes to join us at around 7:30.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as we normally do, I'd like to propose that we accept the apologies and we ask the Deputy Chairman to second, if that's all right. And those in favour? Unanimous. Right, we now turn to item 4 on the agenda, which is the minutes of the last meeting. And the officer's recommendation. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, I've missed 3. Are there any declarations of interest?
We've had none pre-notified about this.
Thank you. So we now move on to item number 4, that members approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of October as a true and accurate record and agree that they be signed as such. Has anybody got any? So I'd like to propose that they be approved and signed. Thank you. Thank you very much. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Right, agenda item 5, councillors' questions or statements. And I believe Councillor Weller, you'd like to speak.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Last week, over 4 evenings, our assistant clerk and members of our excellent youth council hosted a number of groups of young people from local scouts and brownies here in the council chamber. Madam Mayor, 2 of our younger members and I joined with them to talk about democracy and what council and councillors do. The groups were all very engaged and really enjoyed their evening with us. They were particularly interested in the role of the mayor, but also joined in a lively debate on the importance of using their vote. I'd like to thank Charmaine, Anna, Beth, Lily, Corey, Connor, Joey and Ralph for giving up their time on a particularly dull evenings and making our Parliament events so successful. Members of our youth council were invited to join our MP Lloyd Hatton at Parliament during this week. I know that they had a great time and perhaps we could invite them to come along and give us a report in the new year. I know that they planned some very difficult questions for Mr. Hatton, so it'd be nice to know how he dealt with those. So could we thank Charmaine? Could you forward our thanks to members of the Youth Council because it was extremely successful. Well done.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make a statement? And we move on then to the town mayor's announcements. I was going to include that in my announcement, but I would just like to add to what Councillor Weller has said. I'd like to thank her particularly for standing in for me because unfortunately, for personal reasons, I wasn't able to go to 2 of them. One of which was I was doing another mayoral thing, but everybody really enjoyed them, and I'd particularly like to thank the young councillors who came. Now, Councillor Bell, Councillor Harnsworth, Councillor O'Leary, and Councillor Thurman for coming down and making it so enjoyable and actually tackling some quite interesting questions. Thank you. So I'd like to just bring you up to date on what I've been up to in the last month. I was very pleased to attend the Dorset British Legion Poppy Appeal launch at the Moat Fort, and the opening of the Standing with Giants exhibitions also at the fort. And these were life-size metal models of representing each one of those lost their lives during the Falklands conflict. It was a very, very moving exhibition, and I would urge any of you who haven't been, it's open to the end of this month, to go along and have a look. I then attended the Unity Spirit event of All Saints Church, which was very friendly and very nice. And then the lighting of the beach bonfire, followed by the countdown of fireworks. I visited the Veterans Hub for a presentation by the Dorset Masonic Lodge to them. And the highlight of the past few weeks has been, for me, the services of the members on the Esplanade, which was a privilege to lead. I must add that I cannot ever remember having seen so many members of the public as there were on that Sunday. And that evening, I went to the Royal British Legion Festival Remembrance at the Pavilion. On the 11th of November, I was then present at both the Royal British Legion Remembrance Service at our Royal Memorial, followed by a short service at the Merchant Sea. The following week, I opened the annual Wayne Fort Diabetes Day at the Redland Sports Centre and was amazed to learn that over 5,000 residents in Wayne Fort were suffering from type 2 diabetes, which was quite a shock. I was also then invited to a delicious cream tea with the Moonfleet Indoor Bowling Club. Celebrating 25 years in their new venue up on at the Marsh. 4 evenings last week, as we said, they were the special evenings with the young people, and that really was something special. Thank you all very much again for helping with that. My 2 final events this month, were the WOW performance at the Pavilion, and what an amazing troupe of young people we have in this town doing wonderful things. They were absolute credit to us all. And also yesterday, the unveiling of the Chatty Bench at Bowleys Coveway, which is organised by the charity Mind, and they've had this lovely bench sited there with the help of our Green Spaces manager, Paul. And it's all been hand painted, and it's there for people just to go and sit and look at the fantastic view, and perhaps just chat to somebody who might be lonely and sitting out there. And this is all to help with mental health. I think it's really worthwhile for you all, if you can, to go and have a quick look at it. It's really nice. So this coming Saturday, I want to give a plug then, please, for the switching on of the lights outside. I call it Millennium Square, but that's my version of it. And that's on this Saturday. And then the following Saturday, we have the Carol's Grand Post. And it would be really nice if as many councillors could come as possible to support. Thank you very much. So, update from Dorset Council. Any of our Dorset councillors wish to give us an update, Councillor Taylor?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam. I just wanted to update council on something I did last week, which was open a facility for bus farm. It's been a project that has been ongoing now for a few months. I last visited the building, moved to down the building. There's a farmhouse on the edge of Wayne. And it's been converted to 6 one-bedroom accommodation units, plus 2 accommodation units, which are flats and individual. It's single premises accommodation place, so it's for young people, quite often from Wayne, and it's for young people that are unable to remain at home, where there's other problems for them that they need to be out of the home and supported in a really loving, caring sort of way. It's interesting because it's a building that was bought by Dorset County Council for the Olympics in 2012. And I'm not going to say where it is, it's obviously a building, but it's been done up and really well converted using single homelessness accommodation program money, which is part of the HCLG. So it's quite an extensive piece of work that's done. We're hoping there will be young people within the next few weeks, just to assure everyone that there's 24/7 support, and we've got ongoing revenue funding for that. And it basically, this will add 8 new accommodation units, complementing 34 that we're already delivering through the Rod Sleep accommodation program. And 11 units from basically well. So hopefully, well, it will go really well going forward. And I just thought it was
Councillor Hope.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Speaking as with my Dorset Council hat on, current member for Customer, Culture and Community Engagement, members of this council may be aware that on Monday, Overview voted down recommendation for reasonable expectations, a partnership agreement with Dorset. There are various reasons that that was voted down, mainly due to content of the independent reports was done by commissioned by the APC or done for the APC by independent authors. We are now working to see what we can do to resolve that, and bring forward that reasonable statement of expectations to move forward with collaborative way with towns and parish councils early next year.
Yes. Right. Sorry. For us, and that's all very
Oh, Councillor Webb, sorry.
Thank you. Referencing Councillor Orrell, members and members of the public will have read in proposals for Town Central Wales in particular, but Dorset in general, there is the suggestion of a university. And I've been talking to the Health Sciences University of Bournemouth for some years now, and I met with officers this week and with the university last week again, just to say that those plans are moving forward at quite some pace now. It's not a standalone university, it is a campus as part of the Health Sciences and also the Bournemouth University, with other involvement as well. So it's a little way off, but it certainly looks as though our young people will have greater access to education before too much longer.
We'll move on to the next agenda item, which is public questions. Right, so we'll move on to agenda item number 9, the finance monitoring, and I would ask you now to introduce.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the Q2 budget monitoring report, which has been through the Finance and Governance Committee, where there were no recommendations for corrective action. So we're not asking for council to be any corrective. One of the main things which happened in the second quarter was the pay award was made, and I'm pleased to say that the provision which we had in the budget covered that. A possibility that it may not be our proven budget doesn't cover that pay award. I think the main observation of the budget too is that it is used for part of the discussion with managers around the budget working group and set the budget for next year. So I would look at the members of that budget working group to use that as a tool to challenge managers when they meet, and then by any correct they need to do to make budget change next year. We always spoke to you guys said that really challenge, but it'll be just after 50.
Thank you. Councillor Civil, would you like to identify as chairman?
That's very kind, but no, I reiterate for that. If councillors that aren't on the working group want to put forward any challenges, having read through that, for us to pass on to the process next Tuesday afternoon, then please do. Thank you very much.
So is everybody happy if we know? Okay, sorry. Sorry, councillor Atkins.
I'd like to say something brief. Item 9 suggests we plan to spend 1.5% of our budget for community development. We actually spend 2%. I think this is grossly inappropriate percentage to meet the needs of many of our preset contributors. The context is the shocking reality of the 5 areas in Weymouth, central town centre, Mark District, Rodwell, some parts of Westbrook, are in the 10% most deprived local areas in England. The council shouldn't ignore this reality anymore and bring some of these resources to addressing their problem. The National Association of Local Councils states that town councils can help address the immediate needs of residents struggling with cost of living crisis and promote more resilient and supportive community. They can do this by establishing and supporting community support programs. One example possibility is for the council to alleviate child hunger of the most needy with breakfast vouchers outside of the school terms as the support town council. The importance of this issue is recognised by many people, including David. So we should support Dorset Council efforts. They lack, sorry?
Ed David.
Ed David. Leader of one of the local national parties. We should support Dorset Council. For lack of effort.
Come on, guys, let the member speak, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to say finally, the lack of Dorset Council efforts need to be supported. They lack sufficient funds, not the will, to provide the level of support our community needs. I urge that we need to agree to reset our expenditure priorities to meet these community needs in the next budget. I do support the reversion of the toilets will come later, but that's an example of where I spend a lot of money. I think we should do.
Thank you. Anybody else like to say something? Councillor?
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Not in actually relation to the figures here today, but I'm just wondering if Ian has any concerns given today's budgets or any budget pressures that we may face as a town council when setting our new budget. Can you make us aware about or wants time to respond to that by email?
We're really process it. Analysing those things.
So therefore, is everybody happy to note? Thank you. We now come to the appointment of the internal auditor. Again, I've asked you.
So hopefully a fairly straightforward one, Madam Mayor. Our previous internal auditor last year, and we need to formally appoint new internal auditors. These auditors were recommended to us from our old internal auditor. They are well known in towns and parishes circles. They are internal auditors in large authorities, including Salisbury City Council. So we have checked, as we need to do, they are independent. We have to deal with the qualifications to undertake the work, and they will provide a letter of engagement sign off. So we're just asking for multi qualities as part.
Therefore, the Finance and Government Committee's recommendation is that the full council agree to the appointment of Mulberry Local Authority Services Limited, the internal auditors for Weymouth Town Council, to undertake the internal audit service. So I have a proposal, please, Councillor Dibble. Seconder, Councillor Dickens. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Yes, unanimous. Right, we now come to the Overcombe Toilet Fund. And I'd like to ask Will Holmes, please, if he would introduce them. Could I just remind council, please, that this item is purely about agreeing the funds work being undertaken from the budget for priorities and projects.
This report sets out the need for Weymouth Town Council to allocate an additional £64,000 priority project budget to deliver a full high refurbishment of the toilets following the environmental services. potential works quoted came in significantly under the 70,000 previously allocated, creating the opportunity for refurbishment rather than undertaking only minimum repairs. Option 7 will provide a high quality of the works at Page Street and improve the installation of parking, operating doors to vandalism, support income generation and modernising. Thank you.
Right to speak. Councillor O'Leary.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I reiterate the position I made at Climate Related Services, is that I cannot support refurbishment option that includes card payment system only, no cash option, or any charging system. Therefore, while I am in favour of the refurbishment, I am opposed to a charging system, and I am opposed to cash only, non-cash paying option. I believe that we should, as a town council, where we can, encourage people to equally use card and cash. While card might be regarded as the future, there is being seen a return to cash. I would be voting no.
Councillor Dickinson.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I too will be voting against this if it includes a card payment. We have several homeless people that live on our ward, and they use these toilets all the time. So they won't be able to, because they don't have cards. So just on that scale alone, I can't support any payments.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering, I see the recommendation in the paper, which has obviously gone through environmental services, but I do recall during the debate of environmental services, part of the recommendation built in, is we did ask for future refurbishment works to be baked into the budget. This has been going through the committee process now for the best part of 4 months, which is deferred works to allow the release of funds. We've got an asset maintenance plan, which sets the scene for our desires to refurbish our toilets over the coming years and the priorities that should happen. But this process, as much as I respect the democratic process, it's just delayed it, but there was absolutely no need to. So I feel that there's something missing from the recommendation in the paper, based on the Environmental Services Committee. I'm hoping someone else there may support this. But I think the recommendation should also bake in that the request that's made there, and that is that future repairs and refurbishments are met from a council budget.
Councillor, I'd like to say something. It's actually thinking about impact that idea of charging go to the toilet. I mean, put yourself in the view of a male with family, comes out of the water, obviously, runs up the beach to go for them, hasn't got his 50 pence or his car, so what's he going to do? Go straight back down and piddle in the sea. Or, even worse, piddle up the wall. It's ridiculous. I'm all for the refurbishment, but charging people to go to the toilet 50 pence is absolutely wrong.
Could I just remind members, please, as I said before, that this item now is purely for agreeing funds work, as it's been discussed in detail at the services. Councillor Weller.
In order to move that forward in that case, Madam Mayor, hearing very clearly your instruction, I'd like to propose that we go for a vote to approve that this work gets carried out now as soon as
Your proposal, would anybody like to second? That's the top. Thank you. So can you all vote? Those in favour?
Sorry, Chair.
Sorry.
I would like to make an amendment, and that is the proposal on the table to cover the points I raised at Environmental Services and just then. You wait for it.
I am honest.
And I think the wording should go along the lines of that council recommends creation of a repairs and refurbishment fund within this year's, but next year's budget to allow the refurbishment to take place as the agreed strategy.
I could just, there is a agreed strategy at present.
The asset maintenance strategy, and it had priorities for toilets that went through council.
Now the
Asset maintenance management plan, maintenance plan, strategy, all those. Definitely.
Because it's a job, councillors that, following, previous discussions, the programme toilet refurbishment will be one of the options for consideration as part of this budget process. To vote formally to include that.
second the amendment.
Yes, while obviously I've expressed opposition to the principle of favour of councillor's recommendation, disagree with the outcome, it does make the actual process democratically inclusive.
Yeah, I'd like to give them what we're looking for. I thought we were voting over for the additional 64,000 rather than for 70. I thought 70,000 would have been allocated. But we did financial
If I may, so the cost of the work is the 70 plus the 64. The 64 is additional cost on top of the 70 that's required to fund option 7 as agreed by Environment and Services Committee.
But haven't we already allocated the 70? So aren't we voting on whether we now we've allocated additional 64?
Yes, as detailed up on the screen.
I wasn't present at the ENS meeting. Can I ask whether there was a debate about card payment and financial payment, what the outcome was?
Yes, excuse me. To give reassurance, there was a lengthy debate about the merits of card payment or otherwise. So that was fully debated at that committee meeting. In terms of the point that Councillor
The outcome, sorry.
4 in favour, 5 in favour, 4 against 1.
In sort of building on the point that Councillor Hope has made, within the resolution that went through at the previous Environment Services, that was not in those precise words, but that was included within that recommendation. So it read at the time of the meeting, in addition, this committee requests that the Finance and Governance Budget Working Group review the schedule of refurbishment and management of assets to ensure there is sufficient budget. So that was within there. This builds on that. I think the recommendations as we got them up there move us forward. They get this improvement completed ahead of the busy time of the year, and also with Councillor Hope's amendment builds in some sort of protection and forward thinking moving ahead. So as the chair, lots of these points have been fully debated. I agree with what's up there on the board and will be supported.
Right, I'd just like to express my opinion. I think it's really that. But as this has been through the
Point of order. Charging of toilets is not to do with the agenda that we're discussing this evening. We've discussed that at length. If members wish to discuss fees and charges, they can take it to an ENS at any point. And I propose that we move to the vote now. I can do that. It is rocking. Vote on the amendment.
Are we voting on the amendment? Are we voting on the
No,
amendment?
this is a proposal, it's not. an
Yes,
amendment.
so
This is EREX for EREX.
on the,
Oh. With the initial.
this is a,
This is an amendment.
Yes.
Technically.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
So I can move it and standing order 1.18.4, motions to the vote. Charge, as charging not involved in the motion that's been proposed.
I don't feel that's an appropriate standing order now.
says included.
Councillor Young.
Yeah, can I just finish by saying that, yeah, we put aside the bank toilet. I'm going to say that I will support this motion, but I think it's more important that we refurbish. So I will support the motion, even though I have my doubts about China. Maybe we'll come back to that, but they're not refurbished, they're not refurbished.
Yes, we're just looking to offer some clarity on which point in order this can be.
Point's been made.
So where we are now is that you there was a motion moved, which was point A. That was duly proposed and seconded. There was then an amendment suggested that now it can be debated and will need to be proposed. It's been proposed and seconded.
May I ask just to hear the proposal again? The amendment.
So the amendment is in red on the board and it is the addition of point B, which says,
I'm not going to colours.
my apologies, recommends the provision of a refurbishment fund to allow work to progress as detailed in the planned maintenance programme. And that I understand is something that will be referred to the budget working group for inclusion or not in any future budget coming forward.
Thanks, I understand.
So can we take that amendment first? All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 in favour, Chair. Any against? 2. And any abstention? 1. Does that add up? Yeah. 1. So that means that the motion now taken in front of members is as amended. So now you can vote. So could I have all those in favour?
Madam Mayor, before you go to the vote, can I recommend that we take A and B separate, because I know there's two different feelings about both parts of that recommendation.
Those in favour?
of,
A. Which, if you wish to take, we got. It was agreed. Yeah.
So I will propose the motion now. Shouldn't be.
what's that? We just voted on it.
No, not yet.
We're just exercising an answer.
So the amendment has been proposed, so this is now in front of members. It requires
I will propose.
using,
I will propose the recommendation now as amended, and but to take A and B separate.
second of that. So A, all those in favour of taking them separately? No.
Just
All those in favour of A, those in favour of A.
Favour of A.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
13, 14, 15.
All those against?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Any abstention? Fine, thank you.
And then B.
And now we go to item B, to recommendation B. 4, sorry, 4,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22.
any against? 1, 23, 23. Thank you all for that. That's rather complicated, isn't it? Right, now we come to agenda item 12. Before I ask Will Holmes if he will give us a report, Town Clerk would just like to say something.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I didn't know if there were any updates on this report to provide some clarity, and I believe Councillor Simon Clifford would like to speak at the start of the report. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I wonder whether a deferment might be appropriate here. Part of the reason to place that explains Dorset Council's current refusal to continue its operating fashion that was to buy it and then third payments. I believe that there may be some different understanding at Dorset Council. I have spoken to the Executive Director in place who says that he thinks, well, we haven't again, so I'm not sure.
With regard to the impact of the deferment.
Who would like to speak?
I'll try to go first. I want to from
The conversation had in the next couple of days. It's then I would then bring it back on the 10 o'clock.
Will ultimately will it still cost this council £71,000?
It's possible to be scheduled as previously by over a time scale.
Councillor Brenner.
Madam Mayor, hopefully Councillor Clifford will be able to answer this question. Because we don't want to risk it not arriving in time, that would be dreadful. If we order it in our name and then cross the categories that they're buying it, will you do that? And then we'll put that on. I think that that's a risk, and I'd rather we paid for it up front than risk not having it at all.
So I can't answer that. It depends on what the conversation is. But at the minute, we have a previous way of buying curious. That appeared to change. There may be some misunderstanding of course, and may be able to change back to our advantage. So
Too many names.
Can I suggest that we amend the recommendation, proposed amendment to the recommendation, which allows for that we approve in principle £7,000 and we recommend that further conversation takes place between the officers and Dorset
Councillor Top, you wanted to just share some.
If I may, I was going to offer a challenge to the question of buying same again rent. Because I personally am really not happy with the job that's been done connecting the waste to the beach. And if I can show you some examples of what is left behind after we've had the operation of the rate paid for. Oh, sorry, not chocolate.
Oh,
These are plastics that have simply been picked up, walking down the beach. These are hundreds, if not thousands, of microplastics that are not picked up by the rate and which would effectively stick. Now, I personally don't think that the Is actually doing us. No, well, I'm just saying, because I completely don't totally agree 100% then. But I think there should be discussion about what the more expensive rake can do for us, because I don't think that's a factory. Because this is just getting broken down further and further, washed out to sea, finds its way into the food chain, and we're supposed to be better than this because we've declared ourselves plastic free. And I don't think this is good evidence of a plastic free beach. Quite how we got a blue flag, I don't know, because they obviously don't check what's in the sand. But if you all think it's acceptable, then go ahead and vote for it again. But personally, can I ask you, this is the decision from the sand. Just choosing us a sand done by Dave Taylor. Yes. And this is just picked up away on the beach during Brussels. It's in the last over this summer. When we had the break operation.
Can I just suggest that, Karen, while you've shown, no, please carry on and show everybody if we'll like just to comment on it.
Is it, if I could, thank you, Madam Mayor, if I could just ask if it's possible that beach rakes are able to remove those small particulates, which I believe are called nurdles?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been doing a lot of research on beach rakes in the past couple of weeks. And the size of rake that we require for when this year gets done in the morning when it's quiet, the current water out there would not be able to pick up nurdles. And nurdles are not a thing that's just on the beach. They're everywhere on the planet. Us as humans are creating. So at this current time, I could not find a way that would be able to put the
Old clarities, Castletoft had the nurdles and then the bigger plastics. Is a beach rake able to pick up those larger pieces of plastic, or is that not an option either?
It all depends on the depth of where the plastic is, because the rake only goes down to a certain depth. So if it's slightly below, it won't pick up.
So I suggest, Madam Mayor, that we factor these into future discussions with Dorset Council regarding the purchase of a new beach rake, which needs to be purchased anyway.
Councillor Llewellyn.
Whether a tell us how long did it take to fill that tin of that? I mean, is that
The tin, the plastic.
Was that just one day?
Safety, 3 days, just doing the
3 days over the whole beach.
You have to stop.
Yes,
but
but
that's
that's
going on.
It's just useful. I'm not trying to be critical. It's just useful to get.
It's in
Yeah, that's, I think that, but so we also, because the rate was being fairly effective.
Just keep to the topic that we're talking about, because otherwise we'll
But
be.
it's useful for us to know that, to have all the information. Or no information.
So could I just ask Charmaine now to add?
Firstly, Will has introduced a report, I think it's on that. Also think it's worth noting that we haven't actually entered into a service level agreement with Dorset Council, and that needs to be considered as part of these discussions. As per the report, maybe that we only use Dorset Council for further 12 months and bring it in-house going forward. So purchasing of it now, we could take on cost to spread it out, but maybe that actually in the end time got paying out for it anyway. But I'm sure that we'll look at that.
I have Councillor Hope and Councillor Tate to speak. Could we let Will give his report first?
Madam Mayor, that was my point. If we are debating this, I'd like the officers to introduce it. But as far as I'm concerned, before we got to this point, there was a recommendation made by Councillor Clifford for deferral, and we've been called for a seconder. A second recommendation was then made by Councillor Northern without anyone asking for a seconder, and I'm completely confused where we are in this process.
Right, so shall we? Well, shall we let Will pass the report, and then perhaps we can go back to those two options then. Will, would you like to give your report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This report sets out the need for Town Council's funding of each rate following compensation for waste at the end of July 2025, that the existing Barber Circ rate purchased during the Wayne Fordham Borough Council era and now 10 years old has reached the end of its operational life. The current machine would require at least £35,000 for repair, but would remain unreliable, creating risk of service disruption and increased maintenance costs. This style of brake has been designed for approximately 30 years. Each rake is essential for daily removal of litter, plastic, seaweed, and other debris. April, September. This report compares the recommended like-for-like Barber Circ rate with an alternative model, outlines the costs, and highlights the operational and environmental implications of not replacing the rate. Failure to agree the funding scenario would not allow officers sufficient time to place an order and secure delivery before Easter from each rate and must review, creating a reputational risk for the council as any interruption to the service would be immediately visible to me.
Thank you very much. Got some order, it seems. Just got one question for Will. I think in his introduction, he mentioned we've known this since July. We're now at the start of this debate. We've gone through 6 or 7 options just being thrown through the table through a full council meeting. But why hasn't this come to environmental services? Why hasn't this come to finance and governance? Why are we asked to spend £71,000 in one? Is this asset, we own it? Because I presume that's why we're being asked to replace it. Is it on an asset maintenance register so that we can actually start planning? If we know they're only going to last 10 years, that we should be budgeting 7,100, 8,000 a year. The money's there to do it. It feels like we're being railroaded completely into a recommendation in the dark without the input of the CE working group who have got views on this. It's not gone through services. And now we're in a time pressure moment where we could jeopardise the operation. A little bit uncomfortable about voting either way on this.
So just confirming the asset itself isn't with it's owned by course. And there was always been this other if the current arrangement has had it would be and it's been thrown in quite late in the process, there may be changes to accommodate that.
That's the pain if you were asked.
My point here is that when I spoke, it was rather a long sentence. The end of the sentence was a chapter, which was pending discussions with the Dorset Council will stop, and the decision is delegated to the lead officer and the leader of the council. And to the leader there. Sorry, I meant the leader of the leader. Somebody. Delegate to the FLT and the leader council there. It just gives that little security that doesn't have to come back here then. Otherwise, we're in danger of it having to come back.
Yeah, sorry, Chairman. We did have a proposal from Councillor Clifton for a referral that wasn't asked for in proposal second. But we moved on to Councillor Norman moving an amendment proposal. Can we just go through and just clear up, not that I'm often for but thanks we can put it forward. Can we just get that a bit clarified whether that's still present?
Would you still like to propose that?
I think it was brought to the recommendation.
What was that? So just on the point of order, recommendation has been made. You second that.
Yeah.
But now
Right, Councillor Harris, sorry.
And what concerns me is that we're still being asked to look at something that is replacing what we've got. We know that what we've got doesn't do a very good job. And I'd like to know when and how we're going to find out how much the machine that could do a better job is going to cost. So I think we've got to keep some money aside clearly, but it may mean that we were looking for £90,000 in order to do a much better job of clearing the plastic on our beach. You know, even the big plastic is quite substantial. So what have we got in the planning? Do we know how much other machines cost that could do a better job? When is that going to be looked at? It should have come to environmental services, as you mentioned. You know, we should be spending 71,000 on something that can't do what we want it to do.
Thank you. In the previous Weymouth Town Council, this question of hurdles came up. There was a study completed, and a similar conclusion was reached that the problem of going for that level of granularity is that it takes a lot longer, and that means that you can't do it in the overnight fashion we have. There's also some debate about how effective these machines are. They're quite labour intensive at times. Been looked at by other councils, and to me, whilst we might be able to improve it in the future, there's a risk currently to delaying it. Why I'm happy that we sort out this phase of it. So it's previously been looked at. We want to have the debate it's gone into the committee process. What we've been given here is an emergency, a fast fix to an emergent problem.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Todd obviously showed us the types of assets. Councillor Harris said obviously there's not a good enough job. I don't believe personally that's the case. I think it's going to be to find a beach. So therefore, can I ask, were any of these issues been raised on a regular basis before us in terms of microplastics that's by beach users? Had this been the charity that raised raises formally, and if so, if they haven't, then I think that to bring this up at a meeting now is unfair on office. I'm pretty sure Mr. Holmes said further on that there isn't another model capable of doing this. I think we're in danger, like Councillor Northern said, of delaying this massively. Although I am not in favour of the delegation of this decision, because at the end of the day, although it's agreeing this decision already has been taken by the committee, it's delegating, it's using full council delegate to the SLT, with due respect to our officers and elected, the mayor, who is a ceremonial office and no disrespect to the council, but he's not executive. I think if we're going to make it by a full council, at the end of the day, Councillor Cliff has offered to speak to Dorset Council. You know, it's very nice thing, but are we going to be paying any more than £71,000? Is it going to be any more or less?
I'd like to say that the CE group has been looking at this matter for a while now. We have today taken bring us the detail. We had a talk from Dorset Waste Partnership, and we couldn't see a way through it at the time with what we have. And it occurred to me as I read the papers earlier that we don't know what the other more expensive beach cleaner can actually do. And I would like some research done with other councils that actually own the alternative model a bit more to see if they are satisfied with the level of cleaning of their beach. Because I don't think we just accept what we've had before, and there is a concern. And most people don't study what's under their feet when they go along. You don't sit on the beach for a couple of hours and run your hand through the sand, and you find all sorts of things. And we're supposed to be plastic free, and it's not good for the I think we should
Will has presented an alternative option in the report. There's a section subtitle. beach tech, well, sorry, alternative option, and then it talks about beach tech 2500S. So it will be a form part of your research. I'm on the beach tech website, and bear in mind, it's the first time I've had a look at it, and it's talking about cleaning nurdles down to a depth of 30 centimetres. Can you just tell us, does that represent a different ability to what we currently have, or is that already similar?
I think it represents similar what we have and what yes, in some ways that's very what happened in operation point. When discussing with the operational manager at Dorset Waste, we have no knowledge on the beach tech at all. We literally, the only knowledge we have is what we can find on our website. So, and in the report as well, that's why I suggested that father separate one, but operationally add no.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that. And I was inviting that information to provide a bit of clarity. We've obviously got the pricing there, but there's also some points around operation in terms of, we talked about availability of parts, user sort of knowledge within the start teams and minority. Thank you. So I think that there's been a lot of talk of staff officers maybe not having looked at that. I think that's slightly unfair, and I think there is some research in there that hasn't been picked up in the debate. Ultimately, yes, we are time pressured, and we can talk around why that time pressure exists. We need to make a decision tonight. We're talking around this. The time pressure exists. We've got to acknowledge it. We can't just ignore it. Can I just ask one final question just for a point of clarity, so that we're all in the debate on this with the right knowledge? The current beach rate, is that now out of action? That can't come into service for an extended period in the interim, or is it?
I'm probably too young to know what this is, but I've heard it a lot. Like triggers broom or something. That's what joke is.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you for that charming point of clarity.
Yeah, 2 points. Number one, can I ask how many complaints have we had during the summer season? Visitors or locals that use the beach about nurdles, so new nurdles and plastics. Secondly, what season? What is the time frame you use the beach break? What months?
Answer your first question. 0 in terms of formal complaints into each office for the office email, and the second one is April. That varies slightly depending on when each is.
I'll come back. So the microplastic we were seeing were done last week, which means that could have been from the end of September until now, so that's about 2 months. We are unaware whether it's successful during the summer season. I understand it collecting those plastics. So when it's actually operational, are we seeing it fail to pick up those plastics, or is it just when we're not waiting? Because my opinion is, I just think we should just get on and buy them.
Oh, thank you. I am sympathetic to the idea of looking at the ability to clean the beach more thoroughly, but I think it's a separate issue to the one we're in front of us right now. The original recommendation was that we approve the allocation for the purchase of the new surf break. That doesn't mean that we approve the raising of a purchase order tomorrow morning. It just means that we approve the allocation of those monies, and I think Councillor Northern's amendment fattens that up a little bit to add the extra clarity required. So I'd suggest that we gear ourselves up for a vote on that. Amendment.
The first bucket of plastic that was pulled out of the sea was in the
Councillor Young.
Yeah, I'd like to make a point, point on. I think there's two different problems here. We need a machine to clean the beach every day, and it will get all the larger stuff out. Everything that visitors will see will be cleaned up daily. There is a separate issue of environmentally responsible council. We want to be trying to clean out microplastics. But that's a different issue. It may require a different machine, and it doesn't need to be done on a daily cycle. It could be done every couple of weeks even. So at the moment, we're looking at voting for the money to replace the machine that we need to clean the beach every day. And we have to do that. We can't leave that too long, or we won't have.
Thank you. Councillor Webber.
Neither of these machines will clean the beach totally, certainly not of levels. And that machine doesn't appear to be available yet. So we need to accept that this is, we've got the status quo. It would be, ideally, we would like people not to leave their broken buckets and spades on the beach. That's not going to happen yet either. So we need a machine looking at what is available in research, and clearly, we could go into great depth about it. I have no doubt our officers have done a good deal of that already. And, that's their job to do it and to advise us. Their advice is that at the moment, the best purchase is the Barber Surf Rake. It's served us well for 10 years, and 10 years before that, the previous one did. And I'm sure it's been upgraded in that length of time, unlike some of us. And as our assistant clerk has said, it could be that in 12 months' time, Dorset are going to come along and say, we've got to do it ourselves anyway. If, and I'm looking at Ian now, if we have the money available, let's buy it. Let's order it and buy it. And, we're going round in circles otherwise.
Thank you, Councillor Webber. Councillor Hall.
There is, there is a separate small machine purchase way smaller mesh. Which smaller moments, various machines. While we investigate that, small one would.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm still struggling with the whole process, but I think that may be this subject may be a matter that's brought into scrutiny later on. But as we are now, so my understanding is we pay Dorset Council to rake the beach, but then we also pay £71,000 for the equipment for them then to charge us to use our equipment to do the service for us.
So within the service level agreement, it's all broken down to an operator, how much they charge us for the tractor. They don't the tractor on a daily basis, so they have to hire that for this. And then the rate as well. Of course, the council don't have other people that have to own it. So if we were to go out to another contractor, it will be charged the same amount for somebody to operate a tractor with a beach rate hours very special. Piece of equipment that beaches that would
Okay. Second of all, then, I feel still extremely pressured into this decision, bearing in mind the amount of discussion we've had here tonight with all members, and I really feel that this did deserve the airtime of the committee. Have we not looked at cheaper options for a year or two to allow this to go through a committee process so that we get the right decision? For example, I'll just look straight away at this beach surf rate and I get a second hand one here for £6,000. Is that an option to say, let's buy a second hand one, but only does a season? It's the same value for money, if not less, than 71 that lasts 10 years. and gives us the time to have the discussion on what we actually want to do with the service that we want to provide. But it's not me selling it, no. But yeah, straight away eBay 5950, second-hand one, 47. You've got to pick it up. It's not far away.
Why are they selling it? Because it's a
Fact, there's a second one on. There's two or three of them on there, but I'm just wondering if that is an option. I don't, given the discussion and the pressure that I've been put into this.
Just hopefully help in the process of us getting to this point tonight. When we were informed about the end of July, there were discussions internally with the council that were trying to get over a certain level of agreement. However, from an operational point of view, the council's waste department, finance department was quite right, obviously asked why. So that took a bit of time, and then by the time we still didn't have an answer for the council, we needed to get something into you guys as fast as possible to ensure that our service dropped with delay.
Move to the vote.
I second that.
Yes, second.
So I'll cancel that one.
So a proposal has been made based on the officer's recommendation, which is up on the screen. I think that is the latest thing. Nothing has been formally proposed.
I would like to formally propose a.
Have we got a second for that, councillor? So can we take a vote on that? All those in-
Sorry, Chairman, can I ask that we take A and B separately?
Eaton's my switch back.
So do we need a proposal? So can we take proposal A then? All those in favour for?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Anybody against?
2.
And
And
an
a
abstention.
That should be no.
That should be it. Right, thank you. So now we're going to go on to B. That's that one. The decision to delegate to the SLT, the mayor and leader of the council. Although can I have a proposer and second for that?
You've got to, I have said to take me straight.
So can we?
Doesn't make any sense at all. You need to take the last 5 words of A, tack on to B, otherwise what decision delegate? Just make it.
Silent.
Because the vote's been taken, because the vote's been taken, we can't for the,
Vote against B.
Can we just add those words onto B?
That's it.
So pending that discussion. Decision.
this is an amendment,
Yeah.
so this will need to be proposed and accepted.
You just get ready.
I'm prepared to accept that.
So if you're not- Right, the decision, so this, we're now going to vote on, the decision is delegated to the SLT, the mayor and the leader of the council, pending discussions with Dorset Council. Everybody happy to say?
Decision.
Because what happened, because councillor Clifford said that it might be that Dorset Council will be able to assist in some way with the purchase, which is an undetermined as of yet some way. Pending those discussions, which I understand councillor Clifford you feel could be concluded within the next couple of days, that it might be that Dorset Council will purchase the rake, that Dorset Council will purchase the rake and recharge it to us over a number of years, pending those discussions. But because you have approved A, you have that £71,000 in the pot. So if come tea time Friday, Dorset Council are unable to do anything, 9 AM Monday, the order can be put in £71,000 Barber surf rate.
So now,
No, we've got to, because the original proposer and the original seconder have accepted that amendment, you can move straight to the vote.
so all those in favour of B,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. B.
against, sorry, against,
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
abstentions?
2.
Don't understand.
So that's been defeated, which means that we will have to probably call an emergency meeting to come back.
A allows you to use the money.
Yeah.
And they get discussion with Dorset Council. As long as you're happy to
The
do it.
discussion with Dorset Council comes back that they are willing to buy the rate and will recharge us over a period of several years.
You just,
That's not covered.
I think I agree with Ron. You've got permission to do that. We as a council have just agreed the allocation of that money for a new surf rate. How operationally you go about securing it, you have adherence to it.
That's what I thought.
States what I know.
It's
Yeah, sorry, can we just,
I think that the way that I see this working is it's almost like an apologies if this is wrong. Like the worst case scenario would be we need those funds to fund the rate ourselves if the conclusion of discussions say that we alternative provision could be made. If that Dorset Council come back and say that actually they will pay, then I believe that then becomes part of the budget setting process. Incorporate that into the service level agreement.
If I may, Madam Mayor, exactly that. We've said go up and buy it. If you get an interest-free payment plan. Okay.
Can I what we've agreed is also allow the SLT to buy the Beckenham one that Ryan has said is available.
Ryan,
And go ahead with that.
Make you one.
This is why a self-level determination. We haven't got that, so no, you can't do that.
It distinctly says a new surf rate.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
not.
All done.
right, well done, so can we move on? So we go on to the information item. The neighbour, first of all, the neighbour.
Cheers, Will.
Right, can we just carry on because everybody was wanting to go. First of all, we've got the. Sorry, would you like to?
yes, please.
Oh man, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So the recommendation on these items is that members are asked to note. So first, the famous neighbourhood plan. So, yes, if you'd like just to say a few words on that, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors and members of the public watching, the Mayor has asked me to outline some of these points and a couple of additional ones. You'll see the points in front of you that the neighbourhood plan has been drafted over 5 years by the steering group of the Town Council with majority membership of local residents. The plan will be, and the local plan will be drafted by officers at Dorset Council following the recent public consultation. That's an important distinction as we are seeing lots of people coming to the council to ask what the difference between the two plans are. For clarity, the neighbourhood plan is subject to a referendum, which is a public vote, will be held on the 11th of December 2025. Polling cards have gone out and I understand postal votes are also being received at the moment. For clarity, this is a difference with the local plan, which is not subject to a public vote and is agreed by Dorset Council. For clarity, Madam Mayor, if the neighbourhood plan is agreed at the referendum, it will sit alongside the existing local plan of 2015. And where they conflict with each other, the neighbourhood plan will have priority. Also for clarity that if the neighbourhood plan is agreed at the referendum, it will only be overruled by the new Dorset local plan where the two plans conflict, so not in all cases, not for all policies. For instance, should the neighbourhood plan be agreed on the 11th of December, 49 local green space protections will remain even when the new Dorset local plan is agreed. You did ask me, Madam Mayor, for some further clarity that should the Weymouth neighbourhood plan not be agreed at the referendum on the 11th of December, the Dorset local plan process will continue with the new Dorset local plan hopefully being agreed by Dorset Council towards the end of 2027. Thank you.
Thank you. So we move on then to the actions from previous meetings, which we've all seen, and the Weymouth Town Council forward plan. So can I ask, is everybody happy to note those? Yeah, so therefore, it gives me pleasure to close this meeting at 8:15. Thank you.
Thank you.